uses. Somebody who's very good at it is John Jones, the current UFC champion when we're making this video. He's very, very good at using spinning elbows innovatively. The trick to the spinning elbow is not to stay in the same line. If you stay in the same line, you actually end up here, which is bad. At this point, he's doing a lot better than I am in this fight. So what we're going to be using the spinning elbow, we can come forward a little bit. What we're going to be using our spinning elbow for is after we hit, or we try to hit our elbow, what may happen is he may duck. Okay? Now if he blocks, it's not the end of the world. Okay? He blocks, I don't hit him with my elbow, not a big deal. I happen to have another one right here just in case. But what if he ducks? Okay? If he ducks, then I end up kind of here. Okay? If I'm in a fight, this is a really bad place to be. A lot of professional fights end right here as well. I can't really throw anything with power. I do have my left hand, but it's very weak, and his arm is very likely defending against it. I can't come back with this. It's not enough momentum to get any decent power. And I can't really step back here because it puts my weight on my back heel. For details on that, check out the stance. So I need to stay forward in order to maintain my balance. But from here, he can do so much to me. He can knee me in the balls, he can headbutt me, he can bite my ear off, he can punch me, he can kick me, he can do all kinds of stuff. That's if he's a striker or a dirty fighter. He also has grappling as an availability, so he can come up and he can choke me, he can take me down, he can throw me, he can toss me, all kinds of horrible things. So I don't really want to stay here, but I don't want to move back either. So one thing I can do, and I'm going to show this in a second how to do this, is I can step through and spin and hit with the spinning elbow on this side. So that is a pretty tricky thing to do. What you want to do is you want to find a line if possible. I'm going to use, and like magic, I have a line. Okay, so you want to find a line and put your left foot on that line. From here, when you're stepping, you don't want to step on the line. That's the big common mistake. You want to step past that line so that your foot is pointing the way that you're spinning. In this case, my right is going towards my left. Okay? From here, you'll feel a little off balance. That's okay. After that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin my hips, and I'm back in my stance that I started out in. Okay? From here, my left hip is going to spin through as my elbow comes up, and I come around back to where I was. So you'll notice I'm off of my line a little bit in order to get there. Again, that's because this big bad, hold on a little bit forward, this big bad Neil was in my center line. So if you imagine the line goes right down his center, I need to step off that line to avoid the big scary Neil so that I can hit the big scary Neil. Okay? So with that footwork, let's just get rid of our lines and let's try that out a few times back and forth. So, Neil, can you face the mirror and just kind of start doing the spinning elbow? I'm just going to talk about it. So you'll see how when he's coming through, his hips are leading the charge. It's not his elbow leading the charge. If you lead with the elbow first, you can really, really torque your back and you can still miss. Whereas you'll see his hip is coming through first, right? It's leading the charge. The next thing is when he's coming through, he's not stopping here like this. He's coming all the way through. That's really important because if you're hitting somebody, you don't want to stop where you're hitting them. You want to come all the way through their head. Again, just boom, just comes all the way through and just takes them out clean. So we're going to add this into our combination, but I want you to make sure that you can do this on its own, okay? So make sure that when you step through, that it actually works just on its own. Just one time, just kind of step through and play with that range. If you have a really good friend who trusts you, have them hold up their hand around a little bit farther away from their face. I'm kind of used to Neil, but maybe start up somewhere around here and have them try that out. And try not to move for them so that you do one wrong. So that if they mess it up, it kind of doesn't necessarily do anything untoward to you, but at the same time you can learn what's wrong with it. So if you're stepping, for example, too far off to the left, then you'll kind of end up over there, and things like that, okay? Where'd I go? So just a way to test out your footwork. If you don't have a friend who trusts you, you can use a broom or something like that, as long as you put a face on it. Okay, so one more time. Stepping through, bang. Okay? Now, after this, this is where it gets really confusing, so stick with me. We're going to add the first elbow onto the second elbow for quite an advanced piece of footwork.